he ends up with his records in his lap. And he sends Brenda to a lawyer and tries to plead his case to, I think, either have it thrown out or, I don't know, it's in the court records. I haven't read it recently, so exactly what he was trying to do, I don't remember. What he ended up happening to him is they told him, no, you can't have that thrown out for that reason, and you won't go, or you won't stay in Jackson, you'll go to Kinross Prison, which is up in Concholi, the upper UP of Michigan. And so that's where he went. And I think it was their plan to a degree, the lesser of all the things that could happen. So anyway, Brenda packs up my daughter, who's in the first grade in Holland, Michigan, and she moves to Kinross is the area, which the house she moves into is less than a half a mile from where he's in prison, while my daughter has to get on a bus at 6 years old, ride 10 miles in the middle of a blizzard to go to elementary school in Rudyard. I mean, it's just horrible. So she does that. She's up there for 5 years. Would have stayed for 10 had he not gotten out. Can't believe it could be for good behavior, but likely it was. And he was paroled and sent back down to where he had offended, because that's what they make you do. And he went to a halfway house. Yeah. My daughter and Brenda stayed up in that area until Alexis got out of school. Now, I'm just placing this together as a timeline because I don't have exact.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever spoken to Dennis Bowman or Brenda Bowman?
I've spoken to Dennis. Couldn't keep my temper. Tried my best. Told him, pretty much what I'd learned about him, and that I knew that he was hiding some evil deed. And he said, "Who is this?" And I said, "I'm her mother." And that's about where it ended.
Okay, now both Dennis and Brenda, are they alive today?
They are alive today.
Now, you said before you hired a PI. Did he ever try and contact these people and talk to them?
Actually, he went right to the police department. He was a retired policeman, and he went to the police department. He did what really needed to be done. He encouraged the police to pull this uninvestigated case out and start investigating it, because they unearthed me and they couldn't just leave me like this. So it cost me a lot of money, but he built me a bridge over time and space.
But he never actually spoke to Dennis or Brenda.
Actually, I met Brenda at a Missing in Michigan event where she and her biological daughter showed up to a. They have a family get-together early in the morning, where all the family of these missing people get together, and they can kind of just, deflate their emotions a bit. And she tried to sandbag me at one of them. And I'm coming from California to Michigan, and thankfully not alone because of my friend Carl Koppelman that I talked to you about. And, my stabilizing force in that horrible moment. I noticed her in that intimate circle, all parents only, all family only circle. She'd never gone to any kind of event before. She'd never looked for this kid for, I don't want to put my opinion on top of all this. I just I'll give the facts to you, and everybody can decide. But basically, once she knew I was on this, in part of this and going to these events and so forth, she got talked into going to one by someone who was trying to help me investigate this, but they didn't tell me she was going to show up. So it was kind of like sneak it in on the side to me. And that sounds paranoid, but, it's not. It's just what it is, These people caused her to go missing, and they're trying to throw up every kind of image that makes them look innocent they possibly can. And this was just another attempt.
Okay, we'll get to that. But did you get a chance to talk to Brenda?
No. Okay. My friend did, but I didn't. It just wasn't
An interesting question I would have for Brenda was, why would you stay with Dennis once he tried to shoot and kidnap a young girl? Has anybody ever asked her that question?
I do believe they probably have, and she's one of these pathetic women that will do anything just to say, I'm in a relationship with a man. Okay. And now she's got a biological child with him, so no matter what, like he reoffended in 98, and this little girl was 10 years old. He made her part of his crime. He took this little girl who was selling Girl Scout cookies to his intended victim's home, set her down on the couch with the intended victim while he cased the house.
So he had
Brenda knows this. Brenda knows he did this. She's still with him. Now, I think it's twisted up in the head.
Okay. Let's. He reoffended. He had another case in '98. What was the circumstances of that case?
He was working with a young woman who I believe was in her 20s and described as a very pretty young woman at a place that was like an assembly kind of work for yachts. He was a woodworker, so they were probably building cabinets and such like that. And it was I think it was a part-time job for both of them, so they really didn't see each other very often, but he got fixated on her. And in the aftermath of what he tried to do to her, one of the therapists said that it was not in his head the way he thought of her was, now she barely knew him, not unlike a full-blown affair. Okay? He was breaking into her trailer over and over and so many times that the police that are working my daughter's case, okay, the Allegan County Sheriff's Department put a, what's it called, an alarm on the trailer, and Bowman set it off, breaking in. So the cop drives up, and there's Bowman jumping out the window. I think he was, coming out the door, but anyway, crowbar in hand. 3 crowbars were there, pry marks all over the door. That police officer let him go?
Oh, really?
Let him go? So the police officer gets halfway there and goes, oh, something just ain't right about this, and calls the woman up. And the woman says, I don't know that man. I would never let him go in my house and use the bathroom. Now, she did let him come in the house to sell her daughter to sell Girl Scout cookies. She knew him from work. But she had been, she was not there. She never gave him permission to go into her house when she wasn't there, but that's what he told the policeman. That's how he got away. The policeman went over to his house after he talked to this intended victim and caught Bowman burning stuff. Went through Bowman's trash, couldn't make out anything as far as, parts of bodies or pieces of evidence or whatever, but still had that creeped out horrible feelings enough that he brought with him what's called an agreement to search. Agreement to search is not a search warrant. It's something typed up by the police department, very official looking, and the police officer can ask, can I, have you sign this? So, it's agreed upon that I'm going to search what's here. Well, Bowman has what they call in Michigan an outbuilding at the time. Now, this was 98, and he still lives on the same property. It's still at the same property he was on. He bought right at the same time my daughter went missing, okay? I think she's buried there, but I'm going to get off that and go back to what the police officer found after Bowman signed that agreement to search. The police officer wrote in outbuilding, okay, at the top. Bowman saw him do it, and so the policeman went about searching. He found in the outbuilding a duffel bag with a sawed-off shotgun, with all the identifying numbers sanded off, dark clothing, a mask with a black mesh in the front so you couldn't see the person's face, lots of this girl's private items she owned, her lingerie, her underwear, her stuff unmentionable stuff that he shouldn't have his hands on. He had in a duffel bag in that outbuilding. They took him to jail. He ended up getting, they proved, it's in the records, that he had gotten into her house, stalked the place, cut the blinds so he could come back and peek through the windows. He admits it in the court records, okay? He admits he took his daughter there to sell Girl Scout cookies to this woman while he's casing her place. They caught him about the whole, he told them he went there because he had diarrhea and had to go to the bathroom. They caught him on that in a lie when they said, okay, where's the toilet paper at? He couldn't tell them. All right, so he's got all these personal items of her. The detective that found me. That
wait. Let me stop you there for 1 second.
It wasn't hard. I've been looking for Alexis for years.
Wait. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there for a second.
His possession that had her stuff in it and the shotgun and so forth is what they call a rape kit.
Okay, can you hear me?
But because that police officer penciled in outbuilding, they threw it out. All of it.
Okay, can I stop you there?
The fact that he cut the blinds, all of it.
Okay,
only charged him with breaking and entering with intent to commit larceny.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, so he got caught with a convicted felon with a shotgun, and he wasn't charged with that.
No, he wasn't charged with that.
How much time did he get on this second offense?
1 year in jail, time served. 5 years probation.
Okay.
And whatever amount of time in sex offender program.
Okay. Now
he's still not on a list of anything. He's never been registered as a sex offender. I got to tell you one other story about Dennis Bowman. 10 years later, he tried to reoffend again. His daughter was going to Kalamazoo campus, to a college in Kalamazoo, and I found out through this private detective that Dennis Bowman had to be thrown off the campus over and over and over again. So I'm beginning to think that every 10 years he just can't hold it together anymore. And he goes out stalking.
So he was trespassing on his daughter's college campus? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, how long was Aundria living with the Bowmans until she went missing?
After he got out of prison? Because she lived with him till she was 6, and then he went to prison, and then he got out. She was 11.
Okay.
She went missing when she was just 14, almost 15.
And
in the sex of... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, was he in prison at the time she went missing, or was he living in the hotel?
No, he was out.
Okay.
He was out on parole for that 81, and she went to her teacher and said, he's molesting me, while he's on parole for that 81 crime, pulling the gun on the girl, trying to shoot her and force her into the woods, or shooting at her to force her into the woods.
Okay, let me stop you there. Now, what year was it when she went to her teachers and told them, was it 1998 when she told the teachers that...
No, it was November of 88.
In 1988, she went to her teachers and said she was being molested by a man that was still on parole, and no one did anything about it?
Exactly.
Okay.
They sent a truant officer and a social worker out there, and Dennis Bowman and Brenda Bowman just smooched it all over. Said Alexis was a runaway because she was adopted and angry about that. Okay.
Now, let me ask you something now, because that would be like a really simple case. Okay, if you got a guy that's on parole, and there's accusations made against him, you can contact the parole officer. They have no rights. You can search their house without a warrant, without anything. It's very easy to get this guy.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah, very easy to get this guy violated. Now, does this guy have any kind of political connections or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then just sloppy police work.
I don't mean to sound angry. It just really enrages me.
No, I understand. So then it's just sloppy police work that no one made an effort, and your daughter just fell between the cracks.
Yes, sir.
Now,
that's the story they brought me. That's the story the detective who was trying to ID Racine Jane Doe brought me. And now that's the story I've concluded on my own research.
Okay, before we get to that, now, these teachers that your daughter was reporting this abuse, have you ever talked to them?
No. By the time I found out, it had been 20 years.
I understand. Yeah, but even now...
But my detective did. My PI did.
Okay, good. Do you want to give the name of your PI and give him a plug?
I can't.
Okay, no problem.
I can't. He asked me not to. I can in other circumstances, but not now.
Okay,
not
no problem.
Right now.
No problem. Okay, so he talked to these teachers and stuff like that. Now, and what kind of response did he get from these teachers to his questions?
Well, one of the teachers was 80-something.
Okay.
And he said basically the response was, I don't remember.
Right.
Now, he went to the psychiatrist that talked to Bowman in 98 and pointed his finger at Bowman for Alexis having gone missing, and that guy can't find the paperwork. Don't know where it is.
Well, okay, it has been like 30 years, 40 years. You can't blame him for that either. Yeah,
No, I don't.
Yeah, but you said there was an incident where Aundria was getting on the school bus and there were blood on her hands?
Right. She was... see, I set up this Facebook page, and several of her friends that she knew in junior high school and elementary school from Holland and Hamilton, Michigan, contacted me in a private message through that Facebook page. And one of the guys, just a young kid, 12, 13 years old at the time,